The virtually limitless planes of the multiverse are kept apart and held together by a strange dimension that is both between and beyond them, the blind eternities. This chaotic maelstrom of life and mana, time and souls, is one of the most mysterious aspects of the multiverse. The eternities serve as a sort of barrier that rests between the worlds, but it also functions as the fabric on which they find themselves. In a way, the blind eternities can be seen as a vast river, with the plains being small islands that dot it throughout. The river itself flows in all directions at once, and finding your way can be a harrowing experience. For most life forms, passing through the blind eternities, stepping off your island into the river, is effectively impossible and, more importantly, lethal. The vortex of matter and mana that resides beyond the worlds is hostile to life, and only planeswalkers, protected by their planeswalker sparks, can hope to survive more than a fraction of a second on their journey between the worlds. But while the blind eternities are hostile to life originating from the planes, they themselves are home to strange, reality-defying, and awe-inspiring creatures. These are the Eldrazi, the titans that lurk between worlds, and they are among the most enigmatic and dangerous entities found in the multiverse. The precise origins of the Eldrazi are draped in mystery. When they came to be, and how they came to be, are unknown. It's possible that these creatures, thanks to their very nature, are as old as the multiverse itself, or even older. Fittingly, for creatures native to the blind eternities, the Eldrazi do not have bodies in the traditional sense. Instead, they are more like entities, formless things that drift on the tides and winds of the eternities. Only 3 Eldrazi have ever been known to exist. These are Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre, Kozilek, the Butcher of Truth, and Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn. These 3 are known as the Eldrazi Titans, and together they are the peak of the multiverse's food chain. They do not consume meat or plant life, nor do they dine on the light of a star. The Eldrazi hunger for mana, for reality itself, the building blocks of worlds, and their appetite is infinite and insatiable. The Titans drift across the blind eternities, attracted by powerful mana emanated by the planes. When a particularly attractive world presents itself, the Titans approach, and their great feast can begin. Unlike planeswalkers, the Eldrazi do not enter planes in the traditional sense. Their true form, their essence, lurks just beyond the boundaries of a given world. Instead, the Titans reach out, sending a small piece of their own essence into the plane. These extensions of the Eldrazi appear as colossal, nightmarish creatures. Despite being only a small part of the true selves, these Eldrazi, as witnessed by plane-bound life, are still monumentally powerful existences, capable of warping reality or flaying the minds of those who wander too close. Once manifested on a given plane, these titans proceed to wander about its surface, consuming both raw mana and matter in a bizarre process that warps the scenery. The Eldrazi follow the natural ley lines of a plane, reshaping the very world as they slowly march across it. In the Eldrazi's wake, the landscape is left scarred and deformed. The Eldrazi consume the colored mana of a world, the mana naturally generated by its ley lines, and in its place they leave husk-like wastes that are only capable of producing weak, colorless mana. It should be noted that each of the Titans consumes mana in subtly different ways, leaving behind separately distinctive scars on a world's surface, different kinds of wastes that could, in theory, be used to track their movements across a plane. As Ulamog travels over the world, he leaves in his wake a brittle, chalky substance that resembles bone or coral. Kozilek, meanwhile, leaves behind a trail of brightly colored geometric patterns that, upon closer inspection, closely resemble bismuth. And Emrakul, as she floats lazily across the horizon, is followed by a grisly, dusty mix of flesh and bone interwoven together in a horrifying lattice work. More than just devastating the landscape, the Eldrazi Titans invoke madness in those who stray too close, subjecting mortals to horrifying visions of possible futures, or driving them to blind worship. To be in the presence of the Eldrazi Titans is to experience the ultimate agony of both body and mind, as your flesh and soul alike are torn apart by their reality-warping existence. Emrakul in particular has a unique effect on those she drives mad. Those who succumb to the will of Emrakul become her thralls, warping into horrifying abominations, Eldrazi hybrids that are now nothing more than extensions of the Titan herself. The three Titans are not alone in their ravaging of a world. As they linger on a plane, more Eldrazi, smaller, less intimidating, but no less dangerous, start to appear across the world, following the Titan's path of destruction. These are the Eldrazi broods, and while one may be inclined to believe that these are somehow the spawn or children of the Titans, separate life forms entirely, they are in fact one and the same with the Eldrazi from which they originate, in the same way that one's head and the hair upon it are part of the same creature. Indeed, the lesser Eldrazi appear to move independently of the Titans, and can even be destroyed without any apparent harm to their progenitors. This appearance is deceptive, however, and is a mere result of how the Eldrazi interact with the planes. Each Eldrazi a plane-bound individual sees is but a piece of the whole, a small shadow cast upon the world. As each of the Eldrazi broods are simply a part of the Titans, each brood itself is subtly different, the lesser Eldrazi each taking visual cues that emulate their respective Titan. As a result, it is relatively easy to tell which Titan a given lesser Eldrazi belongs to. Ulamog's brood tend to be taller, with imposing masks where heads would be. Kozilek's, meanwhile, are disturbing creatures with eyes in odd places, and black plates that float around their bodies. While Ulamog and Kozilek's broods often possess a semi-humanoid form, Emeracles seem to come in the oddest shapes, usually with a plethora of tendrils. And, as mentioned above, plane-bound life warped by Emeracle's presence also join her brood. These lesser Eldrazi, their broods, travel across a plane just as the Titans do, consuming matter and mana, and leaving behind the same distinctive trails. When the Eldrazi have consumed enough of a world, that plane begins to collapse, as it is no longer able to support its own foundation. When this occurs, the world itself appears to fade away in a brilliant burst of light, with all things upon it being reduced to nothing more than dust in the void. Their feast having reached an end, the Eldrazi depart, searching for their next meal out in the unknowable tides of the blind eternities. For countless eons, across countless worlds, the Eldrazi have repeated this cycle of consumption and destruction, their hunger unending, their power absolute. But even these gods, these unknowable things that defile reality itself, are not unbeatable. Thanks to the actions of a handful of individuals, the Eldrazi Titans, the trinity of world devourers, were captured, imprisoned, and, for 2 of them, even destroyed. Although that is a story for another time. Thank you so very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, then leave a like or share it with a friend. If you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell, you'll be alerted whenever I upload new videos. Finally, if you want to support me directly, you can head on over to Patreon, where my patrons get early access to all of my Lord videos. Thank you very much again for watching, and have a great day.